with Truth here, and welcome to Otaku Evolution. In these trying times, still plumbing the depths of the deep to find anime worth watching. Or at least trying, anyway. So, Lupin the Third, folks. It's a long-running franchise I intend to milk every little drop from, or at least what meets my criteria. But boy, I could have picked a better one than this. This one, I don't know, it's well-liked, but it just seems so rote. Voyage to Danger is a 1993 Lupin the Third TV special originally titled Order to Assassinate Lupin. It's the first of the specials not directed by Osamu Dezaki, this time by Masaaki Usumi, who directed episodes of the first TV series. The premise is that Inspector Zenigata, the stalwart ICPO agent obsessed with capturing Master Thief Lupin, has been reassigned off his case. Despondent, he actually reaches out to his nemesis for comfort. In his place, a man named Keith is charged with bringing Lupin in dead or alive, but preferably the former. In the meantime, Old Pops is charged with taking down a group of black market weapons dealers called Shotshell. Lupin has decided to help him by taking down Shotshell himself, but first he has to infiltrate them by offering them a prize. This turns out to be the Russian nuclear submarine, the Ivanov. Of course, he needs to steal away someone who could operate such a boat, a woman named Karen with a past connected to Jigen. It turns out Karen's father was an old partner of Jigen, and one day our sharpshooting Beardo killed him for some reason. So she has it out for him, almost as badly as Fujiko has it out for Shotshell's leader's money, or as bad as Keith has it out for our nominal heroes. Can Lupin take down the weapons dealers while evading Keith's bullets? Well, yeah, obviously, he's Lupin the Third. And this was the 5th of 28 specials, so you know he's going to be just fine. But it's the journey. The voyage, if you will. That's the important thing. And the question is it a voyage to danger or a voyage to boredom? Dear viewer, it's a little rough. Not because it's particularly bad, mind you, but because it's bland. Mediocrity abounds. Lupin the Third features tend to have a set formula, and the best ones either subvert it or strengthen it. The TV specials are especially prone to paint-by-number storytelling. A bad TV special or movie can be just as fascinating as a good one because there's always so much to talk about. Just look at my video on Legend of the Gold of Babylon, an endlessly fascinating block of cheese. But I had to scrape in mind for anything to say about Haramaya's treasure, now didn't I? That was just a pure blow-by-blow of the whole plot, wasn't it? Voyage to Danger's biggest flaw isn't its abundance of badness, but rather its dearth of greatness. Look at the premise. Lupin and the gang team up with Zenigata to take on weapons dealers while dodging a killer agent. That sounds pretty awesome in concept, doesn't it? Of course. But then you have to poison it with the usual tropes and cliches of the Lupin formula without doing anything special with them. You have the feature-independent Lupin lady, or Phil, in Karen. Lupin steals something big and impractical. You have Fujiko's usual seduction tactics for the main antagonists. You have the bit where it looks like Goemon and Jigen have been defeated. Keith turns out to be nothing more than the main brute force of the Shotshell leader. One of the characters has a secret past that's come back to haunt them. The status quo is completely upheld by the end of the feature, with very little, if any, character growth. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled by the more hard-boiled Takeshi Koike movies as of late, that are a little darker and more daring. But even the best TV specials that have similar elements to Voyage to Danger manage to mitigate their wornness. What is it about this special that grates on me so much? There's some decent material in it, after all. Just look at this bit where Lupin fires himself off in a missile. Or what about this scene where Lupin and the gang steal nuclear reactors in a creative fashion while working with Shotshell? I like seeing heists with a bit of cleverness to them in these movies, even if they get ridiculous, like stealing a whole fleet of submarines. But maybe that's what makes this feature so frustrating, the potential it squanders by just being another Lupin the Third TV special. That isn't so bad, but it's not so good either. It just kind of is.
Why?
Go ahead. Try to shoot me now.
A hologram?
I use this to protect my company and myself. I hope you don't think too poorly of me.
Take Jigen's connection to Karen. He and her father were partners and were supposed to pick up a briefcase full of money. The case was empty and Jigen heard a gun cock behind him, so he quickly fired, killing the other guy. I feel like there should be a little more to the story than just that, but there isn't. Jigen shot in what he felt was self-defense, but what exactly happened there? Why was the case empty? Why did his partner pull his gun on him? Did Karen know that her father was a criminal? Or what about Keith? Keith is set up like some big threat, like he's gonna be the main antagonist of the feature, stalking our favorite thieves from place to place, sabotaging their efforts, trying to kill them. But there really isn't much to him outside of being trigger-happy. This would be fine for an episode of a TV series, but for a full movie? Look, all of the assassins in the Koike movies have eccentricities and peculiarities that separate themselves from each other and from the rest of the cast. Keith is just, grrr, I kill you. The leader of Shotshell is just this smarmy little twerp that isn't even undone by any clever scheme, but basically just as an afterthought at the end. This wouldn't normally be a problem if he didn't take up so much screen time that would be better fleshing out Keith as a danger. And Keith just ends up being one of his lackeys, which just feels unnecessary. And poor Goemon. Goemon is basically a superfluous element in this movie. He never gets a real fight with Keith, and is barely used in the conclusion. Why is he even in this movie? I tell you, so many Lupin features just do not know how to utilize Goemon. But hey, even Miyazaki didn't know what to do with Goemon and Castle Cagliostro, so I guess I can't be too mad. Like I've said, this movie isn't awful per se, it just has difficulty doing anything but bare existing. It has good concepts, but the execution leaves something to be desired. Honestly, I don't see why it's so highly rated among Lupin fans. It's no Episode 0 First Contact. It's not even an Island of Assassins. It's more of a Tokyo Crisis or a Farewell Nostradamus. Pretty plain. And that's it. That's all I have to say about Voyage to Danger. I promise when I pick the next Lupin feature to review, it'll be something I can say a lot more on. In the meantime, you should go watch Fujiko's Lie, which recently came out on Blu-ray from Discotek Media. If you're a Lupin fan, you won't be disappointed. This movie is also available on Blu-ray from Discotek Media. I'm not sure what I'll be covering next, but stay wired. I'll be back with more Otaku Evolution when I can. Until then, see ya!
Well, are you ready for your execution? Hmm?